Hey, how's it
Hi.
going? Not
Good.
bad. So, how did you feel when that family and dad just saw us with like our camera and mic just walking around?
Fine, I don't care.
Okay, because I was like real nervous.
Because I'm confident in who I am in Christ. You're a little shy still.
Yeah, I'm working on it. That experience right there has held me back so much in life, just being concerned about like what other people think.
Yeah.
Instead of just stepping out in courage. Like that rattled me right there.
My hair rattles me more than anything.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh.
Bad hair day.
Well, even thinking like when I was single, what does the lady think? Like, I want to ask her out, but like, what if she says no? And then it's just like life is over.
The end.
Yeah.
No other options out there.
So onto this podcast.
No, but it does affect you.
It does. And it prevents you from stepping out into like your dream and your calling and all these things. And I let like the fear of man rule my life in so many ways. So she was also distinguishing like there's a difference between self-confidence and self-worth. And then she was saying like if you change your relationship with your rejection, you'll change your life. So if we just define rejection as failure and the end of life itself,
Yeah.
then we'll never take steps of faith where we may potentially get rejected. And the way to get over your relationship with your rejection in a positive way is knowing your self-worth, knowing your identity, knowing your value, and not having an ego. Like, that's hard.
Well, also, but when you realize the value of other people too, like to
Yeah.
God. Like they matter to God. You matter to God. You base everything off of that value.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
When I stop thinking about myself and thinking about like God and thinking about others, it changes a lot.
Yeah.
On our first date, you kept mentioning like I don't want a guy who's like prideful. I was like, why is humility such a good trait? I think I was humble at the time, but like in a way I don't think I valued humility the way God does.
Yeah.
And that is such a powerful trait that if we are exalted in pride, it will be our demise.
Absolutely.
And that's why God, what is it, casts down the prideful and exalts the humble? It's for our benefit, for our blessing, so the blessing doesn't destroy us.
But why is it so hard to see your pride when it's yours?
Yeah, your
It's
pride,
like
right?
it's so easy to see other people's pride.
I don't have pride, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's definitely way easy to see other people's.
I knew someone who said that his brother-in-law was like perfect,
That's an interesting
except
comment.
that he knew, except that he thought he was.
That his brother thought he was perfect?
That his brother-in-law was a very, what's the word? I don't know, sanctified, godly man.
Hey, Moses.
The only thing wrong with him was that he thought there was nothing wrong with him.
Maybe. Didn't Moses write like he was the most humble man in the world?
About himself.
Yeah, I thought himself like, if he could do it, maybe I could.
I know I got work to do.
Yeah, like when you think you have no work to do, that's like your biggest flaw, and then there's actually so much. I feel like I go through ebbs and flows of like, I'm humble to realizing like, gosh, I got pride, I need work.
I feel like there was a time where everyone believed that I was like perfect, and I kind of believed it too.
Yeah.
But then when God opens, he pulls back the curtain and you're like, oh,
Oh.
I'm not, and I need you, God. There's always room to grow.
Well, I like what you were saying. I lived with a mask, a prideful mask, and it prevented people from actually knowing me.
Yeah, me too.
Because like, in order to love someone, you have to be known. And if you're not known, you can't be loved.
And if you're wearing a mask, they can't know you.
Yeah. But then you get to this line of thinking, like, if they actually knew me, they wouldn't love me, so I have to put on this, like, false self.
Yeah. Well, some people won't. That's the hard thing.
Yeah, some people won't.
That's
that
where
girl
it's
you're
like,
gonna ask out may not.
they actually might not love me.
Yeah, that's
and
a
I
scary
have
thought.
to be okay with it.
You have to be secure enough to, like be okay.
But also, I just feel like in our culture, people are so judgmental of our opinion. It's like, why can't people just have opinions and that not define them?
Yeah.
If you have an opinion about anything, it defines you as a person, and they don't like you, or they like you because of it, or it's like your political view is who you are. It's not necessarily.
Okay, so going off of like where you find your value, some people find their self-worth off of their uniqueness, and God's created us all unique, and He knows the hairs on our head and all of that, and He created our personality. But when people tie their self-worth to their uniqueness, then they get more and more extreme in their uniqueness, and then it's like, what's going on?
Well, I think, okay, so when I was younger, I told my sister, like, well, I'm not gonna, follow the crowd. I'm gonna be different. And she was like, I forget the wording exactly, but she said, you saying that is no different.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, so you mean I gotta find who I am, not in
being different
than other people?
Such a weird thought. Like,
you gotta find who you are in God. That's just plain and simple.